Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So, haven't made a video for a while. I said that to a few people when I got this new reel in, I would make a video. Got a rod coming. It's taking forever. Apparently, the shipping system in Kansas is horrible. So, it's going to be a while before I get it. And the rod is a two-piece, 9-foot, 3-pound rated saltwater surf rod, and it's got a long handle just like a carp rod, a little bit thicker. I like a little bit of comfort, and I use the back of my forearm for fortification when I'm fighting a fish. So about this reel, so I got that particular one from Okuma. Difference being that it is severely upgraded. I will not go into detail about that. It's between the seller and myself. Essentially, it was upgraded to be put on a personal rod and ended up being too heavy for the rod. And I ended up getting it at a ridiculously good price for it being essentially a lot more expensive reel because of the upgrades involved. So, specs on this, 8,000 size. It is a bait runner, bait feeder. I am going to run 30 or 40 pound braid, and just for monofilament, the 20 pound is still 245 yards, which for 30 pound braid equates to almost 400 yards. I will be using a 12 pound copolymer leader. I prefer copolymer over monofilament because it's got elements of both fluorocarbon and monofilament. Will not be using the Suffix 14 pound that I have because it just is a horrible line to manage. It's strong as shit. It's abrasion resistant as hell. It just really sucks otherwise. So, just so you know, my hand is about 10 inches. And this is the reel. So, it's a deep spool, but it's not a big pit long spool. Holds a lot of line, still kind of a long spool. It's not really shallow. The drag is very adjustable, very audible, which is great. The bait feeder function is very positive and very, very easy to engage. Either spin or just by itself. When it's on, I have it fairly heavy for the bait feeder, which I typically do, but it's still easy enough for them to take. The bail wire is not that thick. The reason for that, and I've asked in the past of reel manufacturers with bigger reels, is because the mechanism for the bail is so strong that you really don't need a very thick bail on some of these reels. The build quality of this thing is phenomenal for the price I paid. It's a big T-handle, really, really stiff, thick handle. Doesn't look like it, but it's actually pretty thick. It locks in with authority. It is still a plastic cap. I can upgrade that to an aluminum. This one is not aluminum. And I can actually upgrade to a metal bar for this. I really don't see the need to. It is super smooth. The reverse is easy to turn on and off, and it is very instant. I believe this one is a 6-to-1 bearing, so let's look at this again. Yeah, 6-to-1 bearing, 4.5-to-1 ratio, 34 inches of line per turn. The stock reel is 17.7 ounces. Mine is about 22. partly because of the upgrades. The stock drag is 26.5 pounds. Mine is almost 40. So yeah, and the internals on this thing are ridiculous. Like I said, I'm not going to get into that. That's between me and the seller. There's not a lot of gap back here. There is not a lot of gap on the bottom of the spool for the line to get caught under. And it feels amazing. There's not a lot of play in the handle at all. There is not a lot of play in the spool. I have had 6,000 to 10,000 reels in the past that had a lot of play in those components, which was on purpose for them to have some tolerance variance to be able to not have issues. But not unlike firearms, sometimes some makers make things well enough that they can have tight tolerances. For example, my primary 1911 45, the tolerances are ridiculous on it. I've only put 200 rounds through it. It's never had a failure. This is kind of in that vein. I am kind of thankful that I'm getting the surf rod that I'm getting, because it's heavy enough and balanced enough to make this work. With the way that the handle is, it will sit in the hand pretty good, if you know what I'm talking about, where the weight sits equal in the hand so that it balances out. It did end up working for the seller because his rod was long enough and heavy enough that even with it being the way it was so out of balance that with this, it just didn't work. He needed to have a lighter reel and slightly smaller, so better for me. The other thing I've noticed that a lot of these reels with the pivoting handles don't have. This has a very definitive pin. See how it's a real thick pin? So it's very overbuilt, very thick. I can feel the solidarity of the materials. It is heat pressed material. It is not cast. It is poured and compressed. Cast is a little bit different, but it's ridiculous. This thing is built so well, and it's such a clear click. No matter what, you can hear it. So even if I don't have a bite alarm, I'm still going to really be able to feel this. Again, this is the Okuma Avenger ABF 8000. I could have gone 10, I could have gone 12. Really didn't want to get that big a reel. I'm not going to be casting 100 plus yards. I'm never going to do that, regardless if I'm on a lake or not. I just don't want to be that far away from the fish when it hits. So this will be my, when the rig is finally here, method feeder, a PVA bag. The other rod I have is a 3-piece extra heavy Magnum 8-foot, 2.5-foot handle handmade rod. Good bend, supreme backbone. Not the most comfortable to use because the handle, the reel seat is skeletonized. So should have got a comfort bump instead. Have a 3000 size Daiwa Revros on that with 20-pound 214. That is my stalker rod. I use primarily cornbread, sometimes hot dog if I'm going for catfish. Handles pretty decent sized fish. And on the way, I have the feeders. There's 2 sets of 4 15, 20, 25, and 30 gram, which are fairly light, but I like to be as light as possible when I'm going for fish. So that works for me. I'm not going to throw any additional weight with it. I will be making my own hair rigs. I have a 420-piece terminal tackle pre-packed box coming, which was minimal cost. Plenty of hooks. I got plenty of 20-pound braid I can make my hair rigs on. It ought to be a blast. primary focus this next year, assuming I don't die, assuming all of my teeth don't fall out of my head. I've had such a time with my teeth. Is to go for a PB. So, yeah, I like catching a lot of fish. I won't deny that. I do. I'm a fish hunter. I love catching them, and I've caught some pretty damn decent, solid mirrors out of Layton lately. But I want to make the pack bait have either micro pop-ups, cork and corn. There's different ways to do it. I've seen pop-ups with bread. Some people have talked about that. I've seen it. And I'll figure out my way. I mean, I can make boilies if it comes down to it. I've done it before. I really don't want to do that, but I would rather just buy pop-ups and get it over with. But I will be getting these feeders in, which will be 8 total, one of each size, and probably more than likely be buying PVA bags, perforated, not the solid, and going ahead and packing them with just straight hair rigs and seeing what happens, because for some reason carp love me. I don't try that hard. This is one of the reasons that I'm converting to 98% carp fishing, because the return on the investment is phenomenal. I mean, you get a 1 to 2 pound carp and it's like a 5-6 pound bass. So, just to me, being able to sit in a spot, being able to catch fish, being able to relax, being able to have the zen time, it makes sense for me. Don't have to travel as far. Getting on my friends' boats has been fun, even during the summertime, but dude, I'm getting fucking old, man. I don't want to fucking traipse along 1,000 yards of shoreline to catch one fish when I can sit in one spot and get 5 to 10 within a couple of hours. Doesn't make sense, does it? So, got my stalker rod, which I can still sit in my pod. I got a double pod from Curtis Gorey. He ended up upgrading. I got what he had, which is perfectly good. I will be getting bite alarms with the back sets for that at some point fairly soon. I've got to stock up on baits and all that stuff first. I don't even have the line for this. The line will probably be Berkeley Extreme Braid. I've had really good success with the 20 pound on my stalker reel. I don't see a reason for getting a no-name or some high-end bullshit online when I can go to Walmart and pick it up for $17 for 500 yards. Doesn't make sense to me. I got plenty of 20 pound left over to make hair rigs with all day long. I'm probably going to get, honestly, some of the size 8, size 6-ish owner drop shot mosquito lights. I use them to great effect with just bread, but to make them into a hair rig would be great, because it would be a very, very stealth hook, but not having to pay the premium for the European ones that come in like 10 in a pack, when I can get 57 size 8s for like $12. So at this point, it's all experimentation. I've got a little triangle fold-up seat that I use most of the time. I've got a 5-gallon bucket I put my baits in. I'm not a fancy pants. When I get all this stuff in, more than likely we'll get a carp-specific pack and the whole rolly cart thing like everybody else does. But more often than not, I'll pack minimal and walk shoreline to get to a spot, because that's typically what I do. But yeah, this thing, it's retarded. It's such a beefy fucking reel. It's hilarious because I've got the one that Curtis sold me, which is a bait feeder as well from Sonic. I think it's a Vader, if I'm not mistaken. But the click indicator for the bait feeder went out. I sent emails to them. They said, we can't figure out what it is. We've tried to make it happen on reels here. We can't figure out why it's doing that. It's such a simple mechanism. I never figured it out. I've got it on another rod if somebody wants it. It's still a perfectly good reel. If you have a bite alarm, it works just fine. It is a strong moose of a reel. I think it's a 6,000 size, if I'm not mistaken. So hit me up if you want it. I have no need for it at this point. And yeah, just wanted to say a few words about this Avenger. Okuma is a great brand. I've had Okuma spin reels for ultralight through heavy for 20 plus years. Have I been primarily Daiwa? Yeah. Have I been primarily Okuma for my ultralight? To a point. But the quality of their product for their cost is phenomenal. Like I said, the higher end version, there are some of these Okumas that go for over $400. This one has been substantially upgraded. It is not like this one's stock. It does not look upgraded from the outside because it's all internal. So I can't wait to work a fish on this thing, man. I really can't. It's such a dream to handle, even without a rod. It's going to be interesting for sure.